an arrowhead, old tree, old creek, and a hole. What we are going to cover in this video is a response to some interesting comments that caught my attention. So let's start right away with the discussion, by reading the first comment. Good day sir, this area is near an old creek. What does this marker mean? Thanks. Based on this photo that you have taken, I can say that it is a legit marker, which is actually the reason why it caught my own attention. It is clearly an arrowhead that is pointing to a certain direction, which you need to follow, and search for the next marker. However, if this arrowhead is pointing at a downward direction, then it means that you should dig right underneath it. Sir Elmo, what is the meaning of a metal rod pointing at an upward direction? And it also has 3 old nails embedded on this old mango tree. One of the old nails has an engraved heart marker. Thank you and God bless. The metal rod that is embedded inside this old mango tree is no doubt intentionally made by man. This is why I can confidently say that your site is positive with hidden Yamashita treasure. According to my personal analysis of the surface appearance of this mango tree, I can say that it is indeed an old tree. As for the embedded objects such as this metal rod, they often indicate that the treasure deposit is under the old tree itself. Based on my personal experience, if it's not a metal rod like this, other objects such as rocks and bottles were used as substitutes. However, I hesitated when you mentioned that aside from the embedded metal rod, there are also 3 embedded old nails. One of these old nails has an engraved heart sign, which means that you are dealing here a large volume of treasure deposit. When it comes to the 3 old nails, you have to study their arrangement. And most importantly, try to figure out the directions being indicated by the tips of their heads. We have already covered this topic in the previous videos, so I no longer need to further discuss it. Good morning Sir Elmo. Sir, me and my dad have found 2 huge holes apart. Found in one of the holes is a chopped old tree. The other hole still has a tree near it. The question that I would like to ask is the portion on this photo where I encircled it, if it is a marker or not? Thank you and God bless. Unfortunately, I can say that the part you encircled here is not a sign, but the reason that actually caught my attention here is the type of soil layers of the hole. This hole is no doubt dug by man in the past, and not a natural hole. You might discover below a tunnel, but we will never know unless you can bravely go down the hole and explore. However, you need to be careful with snakes, and you should put supports to the portions that might collapse. Sir Elmo, what if the shape of the old creek from above has 2 huge rocks on both sides? Their height reaches about 10 to 12 feet. On one side below, which is at a distance of 20 to 25 meters, there is a space at the middle portion of the creek. At this portion is another huge rock resting horizontally. It also has a shape similar to a triangle. If I can only see the actual features of the 2 huge rocks on both sides of the old creek, this is to confirm if they have been intentionally arranged by the Japanese soldiers on those particular spots. Anyway, let's just consider that they did. Now, what can I say about these 2 huge rocks is that they represent 2 separate treasure deposits. As for the rock below, which is at the middle portion, is an arrowhead pointing to the right side portion of the old creek. And if you are going to look at it closely, you will notice that the old creek is composed of two connected Ys. This is why the two separate treasure deposits can be found at these portions where I placed the two dots. Right, they made a lot of markers, but this curve-shaped creek I think is negative. I have already tried digging at this portion with the square-shaped rock. Based here in your photo, you tried digging at the portion that is pretty close to the side of the creek. So if you are going to continue your excavation, the hole will surely be filled up with water, coming from the creek itself. You need to know that the Japanese soldiers did not usually bury their Yamashita treasures in such a manner. In my own personal experience, they buried their treasure deposits at a distance of at least 10 to 60 feet away. So as an advice, I suggest that you should try to widen your survey at this curved portion of the creek. The curve in this photo is the river, and the color red X is where the kanji sign has been engraved. As for the dot, this is a spot with an old rock that has holes arranged in square shape. Although the holes only consist of 5 holes. Is there a possibility that the treasure deposit is buried at the X spot? I am not really sure until we can figure out the meaning of that kanji marker. Anyway, there is indeed a possibility that at the X is the spot where the item has been buried, since it goes along with the curved shape of the river. But still, the marker with the strongest confirmation is by interpreting the meaning of that kanji marker. Good evening, sir. Can you say that this is a sign which is on an old mango tree? It has a heart shape, thanks. I can say that this is indeed a marker, and I have a strong feeling that something might be inside it. But I could not confirm if this is a certain precious object or giveaway. So it can also be worthless objects, such as old nails or rock. If possible, you should use your metal detector to scan for the objects, to avoid damaging the marker. As a marker with the shape of a heart, we have already covered this topic entirely in the past video. So I suggest that you go watch it, since we are almost done with this one. Thank you very much for watching and happy treasure hunting.